Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode ever of the Your Land, Your Lifestyle podcast, presented to you by Land and Lifestyle Properties and Auctions in Evansville, Wisconsin. Today, we're here to kick off our podcast and tell you a little bit about what it's about. And I think, simply put, it's about your land and your lifestyle,
To how you live,
how you live, where you live.
why you choose to live the way you live.
And inside of all those topics, there's a bunch of other topics, whether it's your land or your lifestyle. If it's your land, maybe we're talking about government programs that are available to you for putting it in CREP or
Different tax breaks.
We've learned a ton over the years, just watching these financially savvy folks that are trading land on and off and being able to do so while avoiding capital gains.
Yeah, it's like 1031 exchanges and taking those step ups for inherited properties. And
the topics really are endless, and if anyone has a topic that they would like us to cover, be certain to shoot us an email at landandlifestyle@gmail.com. That'll go to both of us, and we can look at it and maybe touch base with you and see what we can do about getting that podcast that topic on our show.
or if you have a business and you want it highlighted, and we can come and do a business highlight on there and just let everybody know what you're about and what you offer and the services you provide.
Yeah, right now we're going to be doing a couple businesses here in Evansville that are both in kind of different genres. They aren't competitors or anything.
No, one's new to the area though, and just getting her name out there, I think, is really her goal with that. So.
Right.
Which I think is everybody's goal, right?
Yeah, exactly. But aside from the business spotlight, it's us getting involved in our community and making people aware of what's available here in Evansville and in the surrounding communities. But back to the kind of the topics that you foresee us covering. Did you have anything else that you had thought of?
I think it just really comes down to making smart choices and educating yourself to protect yourself. There's so much people don't know, and there's kind of this generational gap where I don't know if people just stop talking to each other or stop talking to their kids about real topics. But I think just sharing our knowledge and what we've learned in the whole process, whether it's family death and, the impact that it makes on really the trickle effect, how many people are really ready for that? It's not something people talk about, they don't want to think about, but it's reality. But being prepared for that and not hurting the people you care about the most and avoiding those disasters.
And we're speaking from a little bit of personal experience.
Yes, absolutely.
As of late. And whether that's us dealing with maybe a seller that is,
at rivalry with their 4 other siblings.
Brothers and sisters, there's a lot of things that you can do to prepare for that so that it doesn't even allow. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, you can really have all of that kind of a roadmap. Exactly how it's supposed to go. There's no questions. You don't have this opinions and entitlement per se, right? Because it breaks families apart. And I think it's really just something that it's a topic that isn't discussed because it's heavy, right? It's not fun. It's not. However, we see what it does to families, and it splits it apart, and you can't repair the damage that's done. So really just making sure that you, yourself, me, myself, you, everyone does, their work. Take care of your own checklist, right? Your personal checklist. So that way, if and when something happens, there's no question marks, and you don't leave your kids to fight about what they think you want. Give them, the instructions. That's the best gift you can give to them. Don't make them go on a wild search trying to find out, what you did have, what you didn't have. Nobody wants anybody diving into their personal junk drawer, right? But
Right.
that's what you're essentially doing. So
We're realtors, by trade. We certainly have passion for everything around real estate, which is a very big topic.
it's life, right?
Right. But we run into, all these situations more often than not. How many times have we represented an estate and had it go like super smooth?
Crickets. My grandma's is the only one I can think of that has been smooth.
That's the one that I thought of, and that's primarily because all the ducks were in a row. I think people often forget that, the person that's gone, that's left whatever to you, it was their choice of what to do. It was their money, and the more specific that you can be, and certainly this is a topic that we could have with
We could go on and on and on.
with an
That's why
estate
I'm trying to
attorney,
be
but
as quiet as possible here. But
yeah, because it's a big rabbit hole.
it's an onion. There's layers, and they just continue on. Long story short, if you don't have your ducks in a row, nobody's going to end up with anything.
Right.
The state's going to absorb it all. You're not going to. Nobody's going to win. So if you don't have the instructions or directions laid out, that roadmap for everyone to follow, chances of anybody walking away with anything, especially a healthy relationship, is pretty slim.
So we'll undoubtedly get into some topics that on the surface to a lot of people are going to seem like they're relatively boring. And, on the surface they are. Let's be honest, they are.
Yeah, but it's real.
But it's real.
We'll all face it. Every one of us is going to face
Exactly.
it. So.
And I don't know, we just want to share our journey through this whole real estate world, with you from time to time. And we want to share the passions of whether it be our hobbies, which, for you would be
really just sharing what I know so far. I mean, like the hurdles and everything that we've overcame, how we got where we are today, and really what we're passionate about, and decided to cash in on what we are passionate about.
So if somebody were to ask you what you're passionate about, I don't think it would be a one sentence answer, and it wouldn't be for me either.
I think the easiest thing for me is family. If it's one word, it's family.
Well, I can't top that, so I'm gonna go with family.
I know we're in competition.
I'm gonna go with family as well.
Oh, he does the same thing when we go out to eat. So everybody knows.
Well, that's not true.
It is.
How do you figure?
I order first, and you say 2 of those.
Well, then I don't have to think about it. I think that's just being, responsible with your time.
I like it. It's all in how you word it.
Right. And aside from that, we're going to
do fun things too.
Yeah, we're going to do a
Not
lot
all
of fun
heavy.
things. We're going to talk, as many of you know from me hosting the White Knuckle podcast for 6 years. I absolutely have a passion for the outdoors, and shooting deer and big deer is fun. But the process that we go through is probably what's more fun than anything. We just actually had a client that we contracted a deal for. Was it yesterday?
Yep.
And
No, 2 nights ago. Yep, Friday night.
2 nights ago. Yeah, we finally got it done after 6 counter offers.
We were going for that record number of counter offers.
Yeah, and we're not gonna have a podcast about counter offers, but we are gonna have a podcast about Trevor and his wife Jamie going through the process of not only buying the land, but once they get it bought, what is it that they're gonna do?
Yeah.
And they've asked us to come up with a plan, and I've designed a plan for their land, and
we're going to have him on the podcast. So.
yeah, absolutely. We're going to put that in place and see if we can't help him grow some big deer. And on the other side of the coin, there's tons of stuff like this, for instance, that we could talk about.
Yeah.
This was something that Melanie came up with to just decorate a room that on the surface looks, really cool and I don't know.
Cost $5.
It costs $5. But most people will look at that and go, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. And I wouldn't have thought of that. You thought of that. Don't expect those kind of ideas from me. But so it's really going to be a long list of things that relates to your life and your lifestyle and your land.
And how you live. Just really like how you live, why you live that way, the benefits to it, where you started from, and how you got there. And as far as real estate goes, I think for us it's exposed us to in-depth lives of strangers that by the end of the process completely trust us with everything, including everything. Literally, I mean, they'll let us eat as much as pick the property for them without them even being there. So we really get to know them, and really, I think the passion lies in with helping people. And I think just talking about all of our experiences and what we've learned, seeing the way everybody lives so differently.
When I got into this sales game, I had a trainer once tell me, Jason, if you can figure out how to get everyone else whose lives that you touch, what they want, you'll in turn get what you want. And I think that's very true. It speaks to exactly what you just said. So it's not just, that someone's part of a transaction. It's much bigger than that. If it's a farm, we're gonna help those folks come up with ideas if they haven't done it before on, how to decorate, how to do landscaping.
I think there's a lot of people that are always so concerned with, there's such a spotlight on, interior design and staging, and, there's so many shows out there about it. But in turn, there's the same thing with a farm and vacant land and staging that land for photography and all those things. It's just because it's vacant land doesn't mean you can't stage it. And you still can't, you still have to have a plan, right? And you still design it, and you want it to look a certain way, and you want it to grow. It's no different than a house. So
right.
I think really just diving into that too, and all the different things that you can do with land.
I wish more people staged their land like they do their house.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be so much easier for us to represent those properties. Can you think of any other topics that you think we might cover? It's hard to sit here and tell people, exactly what we're going to cover, because that could change tomorrow, because something new might come on the radar. Like, for instance, recently we've been paying a lot of attention to the different court cases that are going on throughout the United States with respect to commission, and we could go down that rabbit hole and spend the rest of the day here.
It comes down to just unethical decisions and choices that were made. I think the other thing that that's been on my radar is just how much homesteading has came back into relevancy, and everybody's doing it. It seems like there's a YouTube video out there.
We hear the term minimalism. We were just talking about it.
Being a minimalist
with Rick and Sue the other day.
Yeah, it's strangely or oddly enough that they're like one of the only couples I've ever met, I guess, in that demographic, right? That she's already downsized everything. She's gone through everything. She laid it all out, told her kids to come pick what they wanted, and she got rid of the rest of it. It was brilliant. And now her house is nothing more than what she uses and wants. And it's so modern and it's so clean.
Yeah.
So I was asking her, like, do you need extra storage? She's like, no, this is all I have. I'm like, that is amazing. Like, her kids have to just love her for that.
Right, like how many?
Not 6 China sets getting handed down. Like, you have to hold on to that furniture. That was great, whoever's. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see that she's a step ahead. She's
embraced the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. She's like, I don't want anybody dealing with it. I'll do it before. Yeah. So just being prepared, and I don't know, her positivity with it too.
we'd like to think that um, through our experience in real estate, and I think our experience overall throughout life in the workforce has brought us here. It's also given us a whole lot of extra context for why people do things the way that they do, and
I think
what
that the trend too, like how they were brought up to where they are now.
right, right, definitely. And there's some real varying degrees of people's what's the word I want to use? People's input on what it is that they're doing. You know, some people have no idea what they're getting into, and some people have a whole lot of ideas on what they're getting into, and we'll talk about both, and solutions to get around those things. So, um, let's talk a little bit about. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
I love that. So he's got all these years of experience of podcasting, and I don't even like photography of myself. I like photography of property.
Tell me a little bit how you got here.
Here,
Yeah, other than driving here today, like what brought you into real estate? What how did you end up there?
I had a horrible experience when I sold the house.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what brought me here. Ended up the sale was 5-6 weeks apart from when my house that I was living in sold, from when I got access to a new home. So there I was, beginning of the school year, in a camper with 4 kids.
so that was a result of that.
That was, yeah, there was date issues that weren't addressed or talked about, and then it was very last minute. And sure, we can go ahead and go into how much do you want for that difference, right? Have you ever seen that video of that mom pig with like all those little piglets running around her really, really fast, obnoxiously, and she's just laying there like she's dead?
Yeah.
That's how it felt being in that camper for 6 weeks. So knowing that, all these different things, I just felt like I could do better.
Wait, hold on a second. So your house that you were currently living in
Yep.
prior to moving got sold, and it was 6 weeks before
So
you could move into the next one.
The person that the home that I was purchasing, they were building. So there was a delay and they couldn't
Oh.
close on that. But there was so many closings that were piggybacked off of one another that if I didn't agree to it, everybody else, essentially the deal was, we're going to fall apart. And then I would probably end up not getting that house, right? So there was all of these variations that went into it. But at the end of the day, there I was in a camper. The wettest fall ever. Mosquitoes like the size of, birds. Yeah, it was awful. We didn't even want to go outside. So spent a lot of time at the library. Got to know the community really well. Made the best of
To
it.
keep the kids out of the camper.
The other biggest issue is we were at a campground at the bottom of a hill with no internet. And the kids, everything for them for school is on an iPad. So makes homework a bit difficult. Yeah. So that's how I got welcome to the community. So yeah, it wasn't a great start. I don't know. And it just, there's such a lack of care or passion. It's like, it's become such a transactional situation.
Business.
It's not, there's just no heart and like true care and concern.
So,
Like for families and personal situations,
so what about that situation, or maybe that process triggered you into getting into real estate?
I can do it better than you can. I have 3 brothers. A little competitive, maybe. I don't know. No, honestly though, it just, when the photographer came to photograph my house to list it, he just looked at me and I asked him, I'm like, do you want me to move anything? He's like, did you stage it? And I'm like, no, this is how I live. It was that one of those reassuring moments that I knew what I was doing. Like everybody's always told me I'm so good at it and I just have the eye for it. And you're just like, yeah, thanks. Cool. And then when he came in, literally when I saw the photos online, I was like, wow, I am good. You know, I know what I'm doing, and it's so natural. It's not, I don't think I can try. If I try, then you put pressure on it, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah. That's
like it has to be me, and it has to be, yeah. That's why being recorded is a bit difficult at times. It's just out of my normalcy, you know. But I think I do best when I'm comfortable. I think everybody does in their natural setting. So I don't think it's odd to, you know, have a camera and all these lights on you and you feel a little tense, or you have to get used to that. And it's no different than whatever you're doing and being creative. You can't be creative when you're under pressure.
No, true.
I can't. I have to be relaxed.
I think it just creates a block. Wouldn't you agree? Like,
yeah, and I think that's why I never took it serious, though, and I overlooked it. Like, that it was such a, I guess, quality that I had, or just a natural talent that I had. Until I saw it online, and I was like, wow, you know, like,
I can do that.
I see what they see now.
So when you watch the shows that are on, I don't remember what
any of them.
Chip and Joanna Gaines. Do you look at that stuff and say, I can do that?
I'm annoyed and I turn it, or I turn the volume down because it's so fake. Like, I don't like the fake acting part of it, and I would rather watch somebody actually doing all of the work, like, in a fast reel, rather than somebody standing there and making all these, like, oh my gosh, you know, we're going to meet the deadline. I can't stand any of that.
Because it's all fake.
It's all fake.
Right.
So for me, it's just
we all know that you're never hitting the deadline.
Or you're,
not you, but I mean,
right.
I mean, I'm just thinking about your grandma's house when we.
It's just not real. Yeah. Things
as much as we thought that we had that thing, like, completely
it's TV.
Right around
It's
the neck.
not real life. It's not whatever. I think that, you know, with me though, I'm not a big TV watcher, anyway. So
I do know that.
I don't feel like I need to. I don't know. It's kind of like watching a muscle car show. Why do we have the dumb blonde in there? Like she's just that. How, like, if your show's not that good, fix it. But don't just go throwing a blonde in there. Fix your show.
You'll be able to depend on Melanie for a very, very unedited, to the point answer.
Yep. Natural.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Get me at my natural state.
Perfect. One of the things that you mentioned in that whole conversation was interior decorating and your passion for that. How do you see that transferring over to this show?
I think it's just simplifying your life.
What does that mean to you?
Having a robotic vacuum that can just do its thing every other morning, and I don't have to move anything in my house.
I was really thinking more about the decorating.
Oh. Well, I'm just saying it's friendly with the robotic vacuum.
Well, yeah, definitely.
My style of decorating is. I think it's really just decluttering. Everybody has so much stuff because you feel obligated to have stuff. Somebody gave it to you, so you need to keep it. My kid drew it, and so I have 4 kids. If I kept everything those kids brought home, honestly, it was my kids that, like, kind of forced me to not hold on to all that stuff. Like, next thing I know, I have all these totes, and finally, I was like, no, they're all getting one tote. When the tote's full, that's it. You either take something out and replace it, but that's it. And then when they turn 18, here's your tote.
Did you keep making the totes smaller?
Yes, no, yeah. I mean, a little. Yeah, I did.
A little.
Yeah, but I mean, they're good sized totes. It's not like I just kept like 5 things. It's a lot in there. But that was like my limit, right? You get one tote. What do you suppose? Like, I know all the stuff that my mom has. She's got my outfit that she brought me home in from the hospital. all of the things. My
That's
hair,
neat.
the first time she cut my hair, it's in an envelope. She's got that too. Like, it's just all of these things that I know it was like tradition. And I think a lot of traditions, they're important, but I think it's also important to make your own tradition.
And like you said,
We're not the same as we were 100 years ago, right? We're not living the same life as we were. Nobody's living that same life.
right. I
Maybe
think
my dad.
we value things differently today than we did 10 years ago and 20 years ago and on and
It's
on.
living in the moment. It's not stuff. Holding on to stuff, I think, is avoiding living. It's
And
just stuff.
it would be fair to say that your passion for living would exceed any of your other passions.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's experiences. Right. And I think everybody is so stuck into or the distractions of stuff. Nobody's even here anymore, you know? So I think that simplifying your life and getting rid of as many distractions as you can so you can live your life. You only have one. It's not a rehearsal. This is it. That's all you got.
And it's short.
It is. It's fast.
It's going quick.
Yeah, I'm excited for grandkids.
It's you what?
Yeah, I'm excited to be a grandma. I can't. I'm not going to be a grandma like anytime soon that I know. I'm just saying, like, I'm like, I love that so much. Like, I miss my kids being little. Like, I don't know what to do without those little minions running around. I don't want kids. I would, but I'm ready to have ones that I can, you know, have for a period of time.
Turn back in.
Exactly. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So but I think that it's, you know, everybody gets so hung up on all like, how can you be excited to be a grandma? Like nobody wants to be looked at as a grandma. I'm like, I still feel like I'm 28, so it doesn't matter, right? It's really about living, and everybody gets distracted by everything else instead of living.
That's a good point. We spend a lot of time getting distracted. And
looking in the rearview mirror and worrying about tomorrow instead of what you have right now. So I think that I think the idea of learning everyone's lifestyle choice and how they choose to live and why. I love to hear their why. So
let's pause it.
So Jason, what encouraged you to get into real estate?
Boy, I was tired of the car business. 20 plus years in the car business and the constant go. And it's not that we don't constantly go now, but
we live the life of like a firefighter.
Yeah, but it's different. I don't have to look at a dealer principal every day and tell them how many cars we sold, and how much profit we made, and I'm not doing the things that I had to do in the past. And you know, when I got into this, it was primarily based in land, and you'll see the difference in the way we dress, and that's primarily because, you know, for the most part, my career up until the last couple of years has really been largely revolving around vacant land and hunting property. And that was super attractive to me when I was presented with the opportunity, because I could...
It's not really work, right?
Go out. It wasn't. I mean, even today, even as I get, you know, deeper and deeper into residential and now condos and things like that, it's all new. It's all fun. None of it's sitting across from a desk and going, oh, I'll run to my manager and see if this works. You know,
see if I can throw in some free car or floor mats or something like that.
Yeah, door edge guards, pinstripes, wheel lock, whatever. You know, I could go on and on and on. But no, I think it was just an opportunity for me to live a lifestyle that allowed me to be outdoors and still work with people, which is what I love to do. I got into this business because I loved helping people, and that those two worlds just happened to meet.
Well, it's fair to say though that you took what you were passionate about and found a way to make money.
Made it a job.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And I never talk about my job. I don't think you'll ever hear me say my job. It's you know, you talked a lot about passions.
Life.
Yeah, and it's certainly it's certainly a passion. I mean, we talked about Trevor earlier, and that was really a new experience for me. Not that I've never represented a buyer before.
No, it was very unique though.
I have represented plenty of buyers, but I've never gone through the process like I did in this one, where we went to property after property after
The
property.
pressure that's on the scheduling, the getting there, all of the just the competition was just crazy, right? Like the whole process for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that I liked the most about that process was being able to say, this isn't right for you. Listening to what they say, listening to what it is that they want to accomplish, and then more importantly, listening to what's important to everyone involved, not
understanding
just the person hunting.
Understanding his lifestyle, right?
Right.
Like really is what it came down to, like in what he's really looking for. And sometimes people will tell you what they want, but what they're explaining, it's not what they want. And we know, right? Like, when they're explaining, like describing this, like whether it's for deer or whatever the hobby is.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. I've represented people that are going to put in hemp farms and farm hemp. And, obviously there's row crop farms and milking operations and all that stuff. So it's different for every transaction. But the cool thing about this one was getting to know the folks, without knowing that I was doing it, earned their trust. But I earned their trust by just observing, explaining what I saw and why I felt the way that I felt. And that helped us really form a friendship, which is what it's turned into. And more importantly, it helped me guide them through the process of getting what it is that they truly want. Because I think we can both agree, when you're dealing with buyers, there's a lot of heartbreak that they have to deal with. And
there is a lot of overcoming of those emotions, right? And getting them back to that fire and that drive, because they're just like defeat.
Right. Because it is defeating.
It is.
You go through all, we started this process in the first week of December, and now it's the second, third week of February.
Yep.
And we finally just got a deal put together after
it's
13 properties.
It's 1 month, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And most people would think, I think, that aren't, in the business, they would think that, well, I want to buy a property, I'm going to go out and buy one. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. There's so many things to consider.
There's so much strategy.
So I think that's the fun part about it, is the strategy, and not just the strategy and getting the deal put together, but the strategy and getting the deal put together, and then what is it they're going to do, and how is it that they're going to use it, and from a hunting standpoint, what's my access going to be, and how can I better get into the stand that I want to hunt by, maybe making a trail, or putting up some sort of block so that the deer aren't going to come through here. And it's really, I could talk about that for the rest of the day, because it's definitely a passion. But, how I got here was just exactly what you said. I was able to take a passion and turn it into a job. And it's not a job, I guess. Turned it into a career, I guess. And certainly there's days that aren't fun. But for the most part, we have a ton of fun.
Yeah, there's always those snow days.
There's always those snow days. We'll let you fill in the blank there, I guess. But yeah, I would say that I turned my passion into a career. Mm-hmm. That's how I got here. So we're really excited to, I guess, share our knowledge and our experiences, but probably bigger than that is getting to learn about things like you talked about, like homesteading. Mm-hmm. And, that process to me it's intriguing.
I love that it's coming back.
Yeah. Do I want to go out and set up a homestead? And live off the land? I'd
do it.
I don't know that I do or don't.
Not in Wisconsin, though.
Yeah. Okay. Then I could be in.
I'm not quite sure why my family chose here, but yeah.
What's the matter with them?
Tough.
Not your family,
Norwegian stuff.
our families, but yeah, it's way too cold here.
It is.
I've had enough of that.
Well, we had all 4 seasons, including a tornado touchdown.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Just a couple days ago. So yeah, I'm not quite sure, but we're still here.
Evansville got hit pretty bad with a tornado, and our thoughts are with those folks, and it's going to be a while before a lot of those farms are back to normal. Unfortunately, the majority of what was hit were farms. I mean, we took a ride on Friday, and it was
multiple neighboring farms, and it knocked out, just demolished them. So
I've never been as close to a tornado like I was with that one. That was a little bit.
You felt it, didn't you?
Yeah, because it wasn't that far away, and had we have been here in the office,
we almost were, and we chose not to.
Yeah, it would have been, if that tornado would have come another mile north. This building wouldn't be here right now.
No, it literally, and it literally crossed exactly the way we come in. So, yeah, it's just good because we would have probably chosen to leave right at the wrong time. I know us.
More than likely. So, yeah. I think we've pretty much covered everything that we can cover. The fact of the matter is we don't know.
We're just going to talk about life.
What's coming your way. Whether it's a topic on a lifestyle, which could mean lake living, it could mean country living, it could mean homesteading, it could mean living in the city in a loft condo,
or just your hobby.
Yeah, or your hobby. Yeah, exactly. And obviously, with land, we're going to talk about land and whether that land has a structure on it and what you could do to that structure, or maybe it's just the dirt.
If it's your hobby,
right,
it can just be dirt.
What makes that dirt special? What makes your property special, and hopefully help people fill in some gaps that they have.
Well, and maximizing, I think, just your knowledge.
Right.
And getting, preparing yourself if you're going to sell it. If you're going to, leave it to your family members, leave it to your kids, those steps in order to do it. So just making sure you're ready for whatever comes your way.
I think that we're subject matter experts on that.
We are.
We know how not to do it.
Yes.
And how to do it.
Yes. Knowledge is free.
Well, and yeah, in most cases. Well, hey, that's about all we got for today. Unless you've got anything you want to add, you're good. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. If you have an idea or a question that you would like us to address, on the podcast, or maybe a topic that someone wants to talk about, or a question you want to ask Melanie, or a question you want to ask me, I believe we kind of set the stage for who does what. Well, Melanie does most of it, but I'm just a pretty face.
This is a pretty face.
No, but if you do have something that you want us to talk about, please don't hesitate to email us at landandlifestyle@gmail.com. That goes to both of us. We'll get it, and we'll absolutely reach out to you and find out your why for wanting to know about that, so we can get a little context and make sure we address all the questions that you may have. But with that, I think we're about done.
Yep.
Jason and Melanie out.
Bye.